Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and I've just got to say two things. Amazon Prime Video is amazing and Netflix is trash. Oh my gosh, with some very rare exceptions, Amazon Prime Video just destroys Netflix. It's not even funny. I just checked, my watch list was getting a little low. I went to go see what the new movies are. Oh, there's like freaking enough movies to carry me through the next month. It's ridiculous. It's not a lot of the newer movies, especially on Amazon Prime Video, but it's just good movies. It's one of those. Amazon Prime Video seems to be based upon that idea where it's like 2:30 in the morning. You're just about to go to sleep, and then they'll show that movie that's going to keep you up until 4:30. Comparing broadcast television to streaming services, but I think you get my point. But anyway, I just finished Addams Family Values, which, number one, I'm old because I remember this coming out really well and seeing it in the theater multiple times, and then I just looked it up, because you're looking, you're like, hey, I wonder what happened to this actor, this actor, this actor. And one of the kids in this has had an entire career and then retired at like age 40 from acting. And that was a couple of years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. So Addams Family Values came out in 1993. I believe it was just shortly after the first one. I think that one came out in 91. And what I remember was the first one was solid. It was, a big hit and people liked it. But it was very like normie and simple, and hey, these people are crazy. Isn't that weird how they're weird? And it was kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it underwhelming. I would call it basic. This is the one where they really kind of went with the premise, which is, again, pretty normie fare, but oh my gosh, people were just savages back in 1993. Like, I have this thing whenever I watch older comedy, and it doesn't have to be that old. It can be like Key and Peele sketches from 6 years ago. And you're like, can't do that line, can't do that character. That person cannot play that character. Okay, this whole sketch just has to go. This one, this is like, normies and families after church going to see this movie, and it was in all the theaters, and it's like, oh, that character, no, that line. There's literally a line where Gomez Addams tells his brother Fester, he used to be his uncle by marriage, whatever, they just changed that, and he's like, you need to find a woman who won't press charges. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can just 20 Mary Sue articles and like hashtag, it's like press charge hashtag Fester charges or something like that. Like, it would be this big hue and cry. The studio would apologize, and they'd pull it from the theaters and edit it and like re-release it 9 months later, and it would be, even taking out the offensive line, they would still be destroyed. So this one was really, really good and fun. One of the things when you watch older movies that came out when I was already an adult geez, cars used to be huge. I always think about cars being huge like in movies from the 50s, and cars were huge in the early 90s. Why did you need, you needed an engine that big to create enough power to take that all metal body and like, what gigantic trunks. What is going on? But anyway, this one's about Joan Cusack, who, by the way, I Googled, does Joan Cusack have a lisp? And there was a weirdly low amount of entries for that. And they never really covered it. People would just say, does she have it? And then they would verge on. As far as I can tell, first of all, I've had a lifelong crush on Joan Cusack, still to this day. And she plays Debbie Jelinski, the Black Widow who's trying to marry and kill Fester for, I guess the Addams families are billionaires. I didn't really pick that up. I mean, I guess they did have money. I mean, they've got a big house, but it's falling apart. I never really kind of contemplated the net worth of the Addams family, but I wouldn't put it as high. Apparently, they had some good investments or something like that. But so I was looking up what exactly is her speech impediment. And I just gotta say, like, I feel like it's three different ones at the same time. Like it's a lisp and some sort of TMJ with maybe, I don't know. It's really cute and it's kind of sexy sometimes. It's very endearing, but Google, you let me down. I felt like Googling Joan Cusack lisp speech impediment just would have overloaded the servers. But no, it was just like three entries and they were old and they were inconclusive. Basically, they introduced this character. So this came out back in the day when they were having like, oh, we're gonna have the Flintstones movie. We're gonna have this movie. I can't believe there was never a live action Jetsons movie. How did that not happen? Oh my gosh, it would have been Tim Allen as George Jetson. Oh, it would have come out in 1994. It would have been a huge hit. How did the Jetsons live action movie never happen? That is insane to me. But they were bringing back everything. George of the Jungle, all those type of things. I actually forget my train of thought. The plot is so what I was saying is this is back in the day. You used to have like Premiere Magazine, and they would always talk about like the Flintstones movie has 23 screenwriters, and that's not even counting the ghostwriters and like. This movie has a central, vision, but it's very, very oddly paced and edited. Now, they actually get into the plot pretty quickly, and then it takes forever for a very simple plot to happen, and then they just like, okay, let's send Wednesday and Pugsley to summer camp. And you're like, okay. I mean, it's kind of fun, but it feels like this movie was written like one page at a time, and it was filmed one page at a time. They're like, what are we going to do tomorrow? It's like, there's a summer camp like 5 miles away from the set where, for the Addams Family, the exteriors. So let's go make a call. Let's take the kids over there. Just do what you do. So there's a lot of like these, they're not even scenes. It'll just be like a shot. I think they introduce one character and the next, like, not the next scene, like the next shot. It just cut to some other place, and you could tell they had already kind of gotten to know each other, shared in some plans, all these other things. And you're like, this is weird. This feels like it has like, but there's an overarching, guiding style. I forgot how much like, very Jewish the humor was. There's all of this like, even Barry Sonnenfeld, he goes in there and he plays kind of like the cliche 70s, 80s, 90s, like overbearing Jewish parents and like the neurotic kid. It's kind of gone away, hasn't it? I remember like that was very like ubiquitous. It happened a lot. I do not have faith in my knowledge of the proper use of the word ubiquitous, but you would just kind of see that all the time. And then they went to the summer camp, and Wednesday's they're like, they have all the like the rich girls, and they're telling ghost stories. The ghost stories are lame. And then Wednesday Addams takes over, and she's like, and when they woke up, they all had their old noses. So it's like, first of all, I don't think even like half the audience would get that, because you haven't grown up with like a million sitcoms with like, this Jewish humor. Humor's kind of died. I was talking the other day. I was like, why are there no well, I know why there are no comedies, because everyone's offended by everything all the time. They put out these comedies, even like even people who aren't funny, like Amy, what's her name? You know what I'm talking about. She does like, she's blonde. She's kind of heavy, as people used to say back in the day. She was kind of on the trajectory to be like a big star, and then that went down too. She just has these like okay-ish hits. But there used to be, every year, there would be like 2 or 3 big comedies, Ghostbusters or stuff like this. So this is, kind of not as big as Ghostbusters, but kind of like the Ghostbusters of its early 1990 days. But it was like funny, and when it wasn't laugh out loud funny, it was amusing. Angelica Houston, I remember her being good. I remember really liking Raul Julia, But I gotta say, like, she steals every. There's just her, all of her little lines and sub performances. They have this baby. It's kind of not that big of a storyline, but she's like, Gomez, I'm going to have a baby. And then she makes this like quizzical expression. She's like, right now. And like she wasn't even visibly pregnant. But just hilarious. Like fun and funny, and I don't know, it was pretty normy. I mean, they were basically doing like watered down Tim Burton shtick. But I don't know, kind of like more, I don't know. It kind of like went like at the end, Wednesday just like launches this revolt against the camp counselors and all the like rich kids at the camp, and her tribe is all the losers, and they're dressed like Indians, as they used to say, with like a feather like Pocahontas, and they're like firing flaming arrows and roasting people over spits. I was like, nah, you could do this right now. I mean, well, because they're roasting a man and a woman over a spit. Like if it was a man, of course, yeah, you could do that. But yeah, if you haven't seen this in 26 years, go check it out. When I first started doing a bunch of TV and movie reviews, I was like, this is just going to be superhero stuff. Because I like superheroes. It's going to be like superheroes and sci-fi. And it's just going to be like anything I watch. So expect a lot of good older movies like, oh, okay, I guess we're reviewing Patriot Games with Harrison Ford. I guess we're reviewing, I might do Addams Family as well. They just put Mission Impossible, just the first one. I put a ton, everything's from like the 90s, but it's all good stuff. I'm still going to do newer stuff when it pops up. Yeah, this is the channel where I don't edit out yawns. But anyway, thanks for watching. And I have no idea what I'm reviewing next, but it will probably be on Amazon Prime Video. Thanks. Bye.